Well, we're very pleased with the DIFC Hive, and for us it represents a huge step forward for the region. We're really excited about the way that the startups we've seen this morning have brought innovation and been able to work with the banks and other financial institutions in the region. And you see the level of interest from the number of attendees far exceeding our expectation. I'm really pleased with the focus on things which are particular to the region. We've seen a number of examples of Sharia compliant offerings. We've seen a number of startups that are indigenous to the region. For me, that reflects the growing demand for some of these technologically enabled services for consumers. And I think it's great that the DIFC has been able to catalyse this level of change and incubation here in Dubai. You know, in today's world, so much is changing because of technology. And let's start with consumers. Consumers are getting used to the benefits of technology, and generational shifts are accelerating things that people expect. So we all expect to have access to services whenever we want. We expect to be able to do things very quickly. And those are all things that technology has enabled. And I think when you look at the financial services industry, for financial services to remain relevant and serve the needs of consumers in the future, it has to embrace some of these changes. And that's why I think FinTech is such an important part of the financial services industry looking ahead. And we see it here in Dubai with all of the demands of the younger generation. The population is growing, it's a very youthful population, and that's driving change. It's a good source of consumers, but also it's pushing the institutions to pioneer things and to test the boundaries. And that reflects, I think, what's going on globally. And we saw that in New York, we saw that with the demands of consumers and the way that institutions responded after the financial crisis. We've seen the huge amount of investment in Asia Pacific and the growth of technology unicorns in China in particular. So we see that everywhere, and it's great to see that happening in Dubai as well. The key word here is collaboration, and I think we're seeing very active collaboration, and one of the objectives of a program such as the DIFC is to encourage greater collaboration between institutions and startups. And you know, when the startups commence the program, often they have one or two customers, often they have some funding, in many cases they've not received third-party funding, but they have a passion, they understand their core technology, and they have a view of how it can be applied. But what the program does is it helps incubate that, it helps sharpen the proposition, and the banks do that directly. The insurance companies and the financial institutions all work with the startups to help sharpen the offering, sharpen how it can be deployed, but also then work out what the next steps might be to really help the consumers of the institution benefit from the technology there. And so I think collaboration is really the key word. Of course, different institutions are focused on different things. Different institutions are changing at different pace. But I think collaboration is the key word I would pull out there. Thomson Reuters plays a critical role in the development of the ecosystem. I think its heritage and the services it provides, but also its mindset towards innovation are exemplary. And we see that from an Accenture point of view. We're delighted to be working with Thomson Reuters in this area, not only in the region here in the Middle East, but heavily in New York, in London, Asia. And I think it's through some of the activities that we see Thomson Reuters doing that you can see the industry for financial services becoming stronger in FinTech and actually moving to the next level of serving customers with this technology. I'm most excited about the ability of financial institutions to really serve future needs of consumers. And I think if you roll the clock forward 5-10 years, so much of what we see as pioneering today we'll take for granted. If you take a 10-year-old child, they find an iPad very intuitive, very easy to use. Whereas if you go back even 10 years ago, the iPhone is only now 10 years old, yet we take it for granted. And I think consumers and mankind is moving so quickly that I think what really excites me is the way that FinTech and the startups such as those that we're seeing today are able to help institutions change themselves to meet the needs of their consumers in the short and medium term.